All right, welcome back to another episode of the Wired Sound Podcast. Today we have a special guest hailing from Miami, a singer. She's venturing into the dance world a little bit, and we're going to talk about that today. We have Vikina. How are you?
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, a little bit of a drive from Miami, right?
Yeah, it's okay. Came to the 305 to the 954, but we made it.
So give people a little bit of background about what you've been up to and kind of your journey into singing and really just making a name for yourself in Miami.
Yeah, totally. So I've been singing my whole life. I really don't remember a time where I wasn't singing. That's the truth. I always said I wanted to be a singer when I grew up. And I think around 17, I was like, I guess I should probably do that now, right? So I started songwriting. I worked with a producer who was like, look, you know, you're talented. I want to work with you, but I don't have time to write you songs. So you're going to take this little beat pack and you're going to go home. And I need you to come back with songs. And they were terrible. But as you keep going, and I think as I become more of a woman in my life, I had more things to write about. Early on, I just kind of like invented stories. Mm-hmm. Which was kind of fun. It became like a fun escape for me, right? Because you get to kind of like escape what's going on in your own world. And then as things kind of start happening to you in life, you have a lot more to write about. I got my first record deal when I was like 20, and I was like, this music industry stuff's easy. and then the owner of the label emptied out all the accounts and like disappeared to Costa Rica. And like a bunch of sequence of events like that really throughout all of my 20s was a lot of ups and downs and promises and sold dreams led me to, you know, and I always kind of had like a deadline, a dream with a deadline. I always say that if by 30 I didn't have a record deal, like I didn't have something solid to stand on, that I would get a grip. And around 28, I was like, all right, maybe I need a job, you know? So I started applying whatever I had learned in building my own digital presence for myself, into like digital marketing for small businesses. And I recognized that in small businesses, like you need to kind of wear a lot of hats. And that's where I saw myself kind of like making a living for myself, social media management and stuff like that, until I got an audition, for a singing competition that was executive produced by Daddy Yankee on Univision. And I was like, maybe they'll get me, because I'm pop, but I'm also urban. I sing, but I also rap. And I'm like maybe like he'll get it. And he got it. And I ended up making it all the way to the end of the show. So,
is that like a competition show?
It was a competition show.
Okay, sick.
It was called Reina de la Canción. It was all girls, which was like a really interesting experience, because I wanted to be friends with everyone.
But you're trying to win at the same time.
But you want to win at the same time. So that was interesting and very like mentally like draining. But I learned a lot about myself at that time, because I always identified as like an urban Latin artist. Like I guess that's what I thought I would be. And every week they would give me these pop dance songs. And I kind of came to the realization that I was like, that they kept giving them to me because I could handle it. And I think I always wanted to be a pop dance music artist growing up. But growing up in Miami, there were so many opportunities in Latin. Yeah. That I was like, let me venture through this first. And I think that we've come to a time now where Latinos aren't like following the trends anymore. We're trend setting. And it's a really unique moment right now where dance music and Latin music is starting to phase together and mix. Yeah,
like Latin tech, I'd say for the past like 2 or 3 years is like one of the biggest subgenres of dance music.
And I feel really lucky to be able to like be a part of that, because growing up I always raved with my friends, and I always went to like house music events, and then I was living this like dual life where I was like a reggaeton artist, right? And I think on that show I recognized, you know, I think a little bit more of like my calling.
Yeah, you found your kind of personality as an artist.
My showmanship, totally. And then they kind of like were giving everybody nicknames, because everybody was kind of like repping their country, and I'm both Cuban and Ecuadorian and American, and that's like too many flags to carry. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to rep Miami. Like if there's any one thing that I'm going to rep, it's going to be the 305. So they're like, can we call you Miss 305? And my jaw dropped. I was like, are you allowed? So even though I didn't win the show, after the show was over, one way or another, I think because of that little nickname that they gave me, I got the attention of Mr. 305.
That's amazing, yeah.
And I've been with that label ever since, and I actually ended up signing my record deal on my 30th birthday.
That's a big deal.
Yeah, it was a pretty big deal because I've failed every single one of my other like expectations and deadlines in my plan. But that one, at least I was able to accomplish, and then kind of gives you that little like validation, that like energy to just
you're getting
keep
the cosign.
going.
Yeah, you're feeling like you have someone in the industry that's like, all right, you got this.
You're and I don't think there's any better mentor that I could have in this like Latin dance music hybrid than someone like Pitbull.
Yeah, that's amazing, honestly. So all right, so you have, is it a full like 360 deal, or do you, I know you probably can't get into the, because
sure, I'm not okay. It's not a secret.
The dance music world is very single deal oriented. Like I've signed so many deals, they're all single deals pretty much. It's rare that you actually get offered like in the dance world deal. Like they're all just like, figure your shit out as a dance artist.
I'm pretty lucky. I feel really lucky in like the unique situation that I have, because yes, I have a 360 deal. It's an exclusive recording contract with them. But it's a small label, right? It's an independent organization. So there's not like a huge hierarchy of people that I need to talk to. Yeah. So something that started happening to me, and a huge strategy that I've applied in my career as a vocalist in EDM is, when I learned to engineer myself, I recognized that I could have access to all my acapellas and all my top lines now, and I could organize them by BPM and by key, and I could just send them to DJs, and songs that maybe have 3 verses turn into 3 different songs because the DJs just take like one little one little line. So I realized that I could just kind of like send it to DJs. And this was a strategy that I started applying, because I'm like, all right, if I want to be in the EDCs of the world, or in Ultra, then I need to have songs with the DJs that are playing these festivals. So I did my little Virgo thing, and I made a spreadsheet of all the festivals I want to play at, all the DJs that are at these festivals. And then I started just DMing them and see who would bite and who would reply. And as you said, all of these DJs, they just start pitching it out to different labels. And before I knew it, before I even knew that they were pitching it out to labels, they'd be like, hey, we got a placement on Elro. And I'm like, oh, okay. Or
I didn't even know this record existed. Yeah.
I didn't even know this label existed. Okay, well, I have to approve it through my label. And I think there was like a little bit of like a growing pains with them, understanding like, how are we going to work this? But they recognize that even though they're not coming out through their label, they're adding to my growth.
Yeah, of course.
And I don't have a shortage of songs to release through them. So it's kind of like a little dance that we're doing right now, where I get to release my music through 305. And then every once in a while, they give me like a little wild card that I get to release. I've had some really cool releases. I did one on Hot Creations last year.
Oh, sick. Okay.
I did one with Elro, which is a label out of Ibiza that does like killer parties. I know Elro. Where else did I did on Mix Mash, which is Laid Back Luke's label. Confessions.
We had Obi in from Confessions.
I love him. Yeah,
I love Obi. But yeah, so I think that's a good point. You can also build by signing with the labels, and then like you can get on some of these label parties. Like that's a huge, in the dance world at least, it's very important kind of who you align with, because they can, like Confession, for example, you could potentially get on, they have the Miami Music Week party. Yeah. So I'd hit Obi up and be like, hey.
I know.
Can I get on the Confession party?
I was actually just making my Miami Music Week schedule. It's stacked. Yeah. I need to take my vitamins. Like, I know. I'm already exhausted. I was like trying to make like a calendar. I don't know if you could tell, I'm super organized, and I think that's like really important for artists. And
I'm horrible with organization.
It's difficult for us. It's difficult for us. But if I wasn't organized, I wouldn't be able to do as much as I do.
Yeah. What are some highlights of your Music Week looking like? Do you know, or can you announce them yet?
Well, I mean, I definitely want to go to the Winter Music Conference this year because it's back. They stopped kind of having the conferences and the panels.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to check that out.
Yeah, for people that don't know, Winter Music Conference is kind of like one of the only dance music networking events that's actually about like the industry and
it's like South by Southwest, right? And Miami Music Week and Winter Music Conference are like 2 in 1 and the same, where the Miami Music Week is just like parties and events, pool parties and stuff, but the Winter Music Conference is actually like panels, informative like talks, and people like you kind of get some insight. So I'm excited about that because I feel like I'll be able to meet some people.
I'll be there. Yeah, I'm playing on Wednesday. At
really?
At like the EDM.
Oh, cool. The pool party.
Yeah.
Amazing.
One of the stages.
All right. Well, it's on my list.
It's
on my list.
It's a sunset set, so it should be fun.
Okay, cool. I'll find out what your set time is, and I'll definitely show up. But I really want to see like I love Hugel because I'm obviously a Latin house girl.
Yeah.
So I want to go to some of his parties, the stuff at Space Factory Town, obviously. There's another pool party with like Waken, Malone, Amame, a bunch of Latin house people. I forgot. I think it's at the National.
Okay.
But
the cool thing about Music Week is like you can literally just stumble in anywhere and it's like one of the biggest DJs in the world doing a set and you're like, holy shit, how did I end up here? There's like 10 people
and if you miss them on
right
Tuesday, they'll probably be somewhere else Wednesday.
Yeah.
So I think that's like the name of my game right now. I'm like, how can I see everyone I want to see and not die?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm still like, I struggle just to get the enjoyment as like a fan. Cause I'm like, and when you're an artist, you get that weird in between where you see like the industry and then you're like, oh, I got to like go try and talk to people here and network. But at the same time, we all have like that fan inside of us of like dance music. So we want to like just go party and it's hard to shut that off sometimes.
I curated my list. I curated most of my list kind of based on like who I'm a fan of and who I want to see. And like who I would like want to accidentally end up in the DJ booth with, and like based on like friends and people that I know that are like, I know a bunch of people throwing events at Toe Jam. So I know I'll have a good chance of like getting in the VIP and meeting people. I don't want to just go in the blind and like buy a ticket and like hope I get to meet someone. Like you kind of have to have a strategy behind it too. Like who do you know? Who do you think is going to be able to like help you out? I have a couple friends that are actually performing at Ultra that I was like, what?
That's amazing.
Hey, long time no talk.
Yeah, we had one of our graduates is playing Ultra and we were like, oh my God.
What's your name?
What's JP. Yeah, he's 17 and graduated this school like 2 years ago.
Wow.
And I'm like, crushing
He's doing it right.
Yeah, I know. So
he's doing it right.
But yeah, that's awesome. Music Week's always it's an interesting battle because you just gotta like power through and just have a great time.
You gotta go with the flow.
I'm like,
too.
Part of me, I got booked in China for the first time.
Wow.
But it's on Music Week, so I'm like, But it's awesome. I'm excited to go there.
I know. I got like 3 bookings that weekend too, like travel gigs in like the Bahamas and stuff. And I'm like, sorry, I can't.
You turned them down? I didn't turn it down. I've always wanted to see Asia.
I wouldn't turn down Asia.
So I'm like, I'm going.
Yeah, I got booked for like a wedding.
But, okay. Still, that's cool.
I'll pass. I'm good. I'm good.
In paradise. So, okay. So you're starting to lean a little bit more into like the dance side of things. And then I know we were talking before, you're starting to learn how to DJ.
Yeah.
So are you planning on like singing during your DJ sets or is it going to be?
So here was another part of my strategy. Once I found the festivals that I wanted to play at, I found the DJs that are regularly at these festivals. And as I was looking for their emails to be able to like contact them, I recognized that a lot of them had their booking agents on their profiles. So then I found some commonalities and I'm like, all right, these are the agencies that are commonly booking at all of these festivals. Some of the majors, like the big 4 of like William, CAA, UTA, right? But then there's also like some smaller ones. And I started having conversations with some of them and they don't want to book my 15, 30-minute show. They want me to DJ. They keep asking me to DJ. And I guess, that's the name of the game of the industry that we're in electronic music, that I need to fill up the slot. So, as of like last year, I've been kind of like fiddling with like a little with my DJing, and I'm starting to feel pretty comfortable. Yeah, I'm starting to feel. It takes a little bit to get fully used to organizing. Again, I'm like such an organized person, so like the organizing of the music was so daunting to me. Like, I mean, I told you before, I'm the worst with organization. And it doesn't like my DJ sets. I probably have like 600 to 700 tracks. And I'm just like, let's just see what happens. Let's just see what happens. For most of them. If it's like an hour like headlining set at a big stage, I'll have. So you have like them all pre-queued, like when you're loading your track? Not at all. You just wing it. I'll usually, like for a big set, I'll have like my intro.
and then I'll maybe have one song that I know I'm gonna play after my intro, and then it'll be like 50 or 60 songs. So these are like my, it's like if I know it's gonna be a big crowd and I have to have my shit together.
I know.
Otherwise, like I play all the time in like West Palm, Miami and stuff, and I usually just 500, 600 songs and just kind of see where the night takes us. Yeah. It's the funnest way, I think, you know, and the more comfortable you get DJing, you
for
just
sure
feel better about doing stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. Right now, I've been just kind of like getting my feet wet with like, and trying to understand the tracks that I have and when the vocals come in and like kind of like more cueing. I do cue them in advance just so that I know like when the vocals come in and stuff so that I can.
Yeah, for hot cueing.
I don't like the headphones. Like, I don't want to use the headphones.
Yeah.
I think that's something that bothers me. So I kind of like try to make sure that everything is mapped out visually so that I don't have to use them.
You do a quick hot cue, yeah.
I can just kind of hot cue it.
Yeah, I probably should start doing that.
I mean, I don't know.
My DJ sets are semi-stressful because I'm like, oh shit, I gotta like,
really?
you know,
yeah.
find new.
I mean, right now I have like a bunch of like little mini sets and stuff kind of like preset so that I know kind of, I don't have to think about it.
And you have your songs that you're going to perform in. So is that the plan? Like, are you going to get a mic?
Oh yeah. Okay. That's a plan long-term to start. I mean, I'm already mixing my music in the sets, but to just grab the mic and get up and sing while I'm performing, to just get up on the DJ booth.
Yeah, I know. That's always a risky thing too, because they don't set the DJ booths up for like people to stand on them.
Oh no,
I've almost ate shit like 4 times.
It depends the venue. I'm here thinking I'm already at Ultra. Like, of course I'm gonna stand on this DJ booth at Ultra.
Yeah, I think so. You touched on a good thing though, because we have just a lot of DJs, but I think the DJ performer aspect kind of gets missed sometimes.
Yeah.
You know, first and foremost, DJs, we are performers for a lot of things. You know, obviously we're curating the vibe and everything. But when you add a singing element, it really elevates your set. There's only a few artists that have done it correctly, like in the dance world. So it's a great thing, I think.
Sophie Tucker, obviously, is a great example of that. But she DJs with her brother, so she's like, you know, she can get up and start performing and know that somebody's kind of like manning the decks. So I would kind of like need my wingman in those situations that I know I'm gonna get up on stage and perform. Kalina Sanders, I really love her too. Yeah. She's speaking at a panel during Miami Music Week that I'm excited. It's hosted by Femme House. And she's just singing there on the mic while she's DJing. Like, she doesn't like get up on anything.
She's had some big dance songs. I knew her as a top liner before she was a DJ too.
Really?
So it might be a similar arc. Yeah, like backstory.
Probably, because that's what I keep finding. And I even talked to some like local booking agents down in Miami. And they're like, oh, but like you want to sing during the show, like it's, I don't know why. They're like, I can't compute. Like, oh, like I've never seen that before. I'm like, I mean, it's like totally common sense to me how it would just add such an incredible dynamic to the night and to the moment, like just little peaks and valleys and like moments, like when people get a conga player, like when they have a live conga player during a set. Like, I think that's so dope. Like, those elements just really heighten the show. But I think I always come from, like I said, I come from like a showmanship. I came from like a musical theater background in like high school. Like, I always think about the show. Yeah.
Because that's what people are going out for. They're not going to, you know.
I make my own visuals. Like, whenever I perform, the LED screen behind me is like perfectly curated to my set, because the visuals transitioning with each song, I think I'm like Anima or something.
But I think it's important to have that mentality, because that's what makes people fans of you. When you actually have a vision that you're like pursuing, putting out there, then people can attach to that vision and that world that you're creating and kind of become a part of it.
Totally.
So that's awesome. Yeah, I know Bonnie and Clyde is another singer. She sings, but the Clyde.
But you see, they kind of DJs. have like help.
Yeah, Kalina's she's one of the only ones I think that
does it all.
Doesn't do it.
There's another girl I really like called Jazzy.
Okay, I don't think I've heard.
Step by step when you're moving.
Oh yeah.
I love her. She's from the UK and she DJs too.
Okay.
But like I've never seen her sing while she's DJing. I've only just seen her either DJing or on stage performing, like in somebody else's set. Like, I think she performed,
Jax Jones or something like that.
Yeah, somebody like that. UK. She sang Miracle. I need a miracle. Okay. At like a huge festival. Which isn't her song, but it was like epic. An epic moment. People were loving it. Yeah. And it wasn't her set. She just popped in, made this epic moment happen, and like, peace.
There's kind of a trend. So in the dance world where I feel like top line singers don't get the credit that they deserve. Like there's so many huge songs. I'm not going to name any, but where like it would not have been a huge song without that top line. Then the artist, the top liner doesn't get like the credit. So I hope that changes. It seems like it's starting to shift a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, like we're demanding our credit. Like I've had a lot of DJs just be like, "Can I just buy the vocals?" And I'm like, "No, you're gonna really release it on Marcus Schultz's label, and I want to be associated with that. I want my name there. I want the discovery." So I think we're all kind of like putting our foot down and saying like, "No, I want to be recognized. I want to put my name and I think that's changed a lot.
Or even adding yourself as like a collaborator on the record instead of a feature, maybe.
Yeah. It's name and name. Yeah. It's my name next to your name.
That's really important because there was a trend. It was like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. I think her name was like Delaney Jane. She was like the biggest singer in the dance music world, and she just never got like the credit she deserved.
Yeah, I've never heard her name.
I mean...
Well, that's just bad management.
Yeah, I know.
You know? People just kind of like going with the opportunity and not learning to kind of just put your foot down and say like, no.
Yeah. Becky Hill has done a really good... Like, she's probably name. Like my favorite.
Kayla is my favorite right now.
And she's a recent one. So
put her name. Ella Henderson has put her name on things.
So I think that's a great thing that we're starting to see more credit for the top line singers because they're so... like the song would not be the song without the top line. It's like,
I agree.
You know.
I mean, sometimes, yeah. Other times we're kind of like a compliment. We're like the little like icing on the cake. I can recognize which songs I'm the cherry on top, and other times when.
But if it's a major top line where people are singing along and stuff, you know, I found that a little weird that like these singers didn't get the same credit that the DJs.
I think that's what made me stray away from dance music when I first started. So when I was like 20. And I was first kind of like getting into music, and I really wanted to do dance music, but it was an era where vocalists they weren't getting named. So I was like, why am I going to invest all of my time and energy into this genre that's not even going to really recognize me? All of these DJs just want the vocals, and they're not even going to give me credit. So I was like, you know what? I'll just kind of dabble into the Latin industry and build myself there.
Yeah.
And it's like this incredible timing of shift and how Latin is mixing with dance music, and now I get to do both. So I'm really happy that the way this kind of, you know, along the way you're always like, man, did I do the right thing? Did I invest in the right thing? But I recognize now more than ever, like, it sounds cheesy, but like God's plan.
And you learn over time what mistakes not to make again. You know, it really is a learning process in the industry. And there's always like, I've had so many moments where like, all right, I made it. And I'm like, fuck, like back to like zero kind of mentality.
I think I've really come to terms with the fact that it's a marathon and it's not a race. I think for so long we're like, I need to get a hit or I'm gonna die. Like I need to get it now. I'm running out of time. And I stopped believing in luck, and I just believe in math.
Yeah,
you know,
it's a numbers game.
It's a numbers game. If you keep throwing shots, actually, it's so funny that there's an axe throwing place downstairs. Because I once went axe throwing. Somebody invited me axe throwing, and I was having the worst time because I am not hand-eye coordinated. Like that is not.
Chuck it as hard.
That's not my gift. I have many gifts. That's not one of them. And I was like throwing, and I'm like not having fun. If I'm a sore loser. So if I'm not having fun, if I'm not winning, I'm not having fun. And it wasn't until the very end, like right when we were getting to leave, that I finally got the bullseye. And I was like, this is awesome, you know?
Like, this is the industry, right?
This is the industry right there, right when you're getting ready to quit, right when I was getting a job and I was getting fully into like e-commerce and like digital marketing and thinking that I was making a career for myself there. I got this audition for that show, and it's like, you just gotta hold on. You gotta find the way. I always use this analogy, but I compare it to like a Rubik's Cube.
Yeah.
Like you just keep moving it.
Until something clicks.
Something clicks. And even if it's just one day a week or 2 nights a week that you take your DJ lessons or you go to that vocal class, like you're still a DJ. You're still an artist. You know, you still get to write songs regularly, and you're still kind of living that part of your existence, even if it's only a limited time a week. Like, just hold on to it, and you're still in the race. Don't quit, is what I'm trying to say.
So you were recently nominated for a Latin Grammy, right? That's
speaking of don't quit.
That's crazy. Yeah, I know. We just had to bring it up at some point because that's just such a huge accomplishment.
Thank you.
What was that like? What was the red carpet like? And
oh man, well, the red carpet was bittersweet for me because there's 2 award shows in the Grammys that probably people don't know about. There's the main telecast at night, and then there's an earlier premiere telecast that's earlier in the day where they do some of the smaller categories that don't get on the main telecast.
Yeah.
So my category, it's the first year ever that the Latin Grammys have recognized electronic music, and there's been people, Latinos, making electronic music for years. People like De Oro and like people like A-Lock, and they're Latinos making house music and fending for Latinos within the EDM industry forever.
I love De Oro, by the way.
I love him too. He's the best. So they never recognize Latinos in they never recognize EDM in the Latin Grammys. So a lot of people, myself included, had been advocating for them to kind of like, you guys need to recognize this. Like, look, there's people all over the world consuming Latin house, and like, you guys, there's no category where they fit. They were throwing it in the alternative category, and then you're like competing against like Rosalia. So it's like, how are you going to compare to De Oro and Rosalia? Happen. It's just not, it's like totally different. So they finally listened, and they opened the new category, which was super exciting. Last thing I thought was that I would be nominated. But I think a huge come up was having a song with De Oro. He is somebody that, to me, I think is really truly a pioneer of Latin electronic music. Like, he's been fusing like his Mexican culture with EDM, and like he's just been doing it for Latinos for so long. And I think if anybody deserved to be recognized in that category, it was him. So I just got lucky.
That's awesome, though. He deserves it too, because I used to be with his manager this is like 6 or 7 years ago, but I've known him for forever.
So when I was walking the red carpet, had already lost.
Like,
you know?
So you gotta like fake.
So I was like, I had to kind of like compose myself and walk the red carpet, but it's okay. I guess Shakira and Tiesto could win. Like, if I had to lose to anyone, I guess I could lose to Shakira and Tiesto.
I still find it, so the same thing with like the American Grammys, they don't televise dance music still.
No.
And I don't understand. It's like definitely one of the biggest genres in the US and I mean across the world.
I agree.
Yeah. Grammy people looking up, Grammy people should definitely take notes that it deserves to be televised. It's one of the biggest genres.
Totally.
So that's my spiel on the Grammys.
I agree.
And also the American, the US Grammys. I don't know what the correct term would be. American Grammys, but they always nominate super weird songs for they're definitely not the biggest dance music songs. It seems like a lot of them. I think.
I mean, it's you have to understand that it's the Recording Academy, and the Recording Academy is artists.
Yeah.
So some of the bigger songs that are popularized aren't necessarily the most artful, right? So if it's artists voting, they always vote for what they think personally is cool.
It's more artist.
Is more art. Like I don't necessarily vote with what I think is like the biggest song. I think it's, to me, what I think is like the best, the coolest, what helped move the needle.
Are you part of the Recording Academy? Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm dual membership because I release music in English and Spanish.
That's really cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. You have to have credits enough. That's the thing, is like, to be a member of the Recording Academy, you need to have enough credits of releases within the past 5 years. I think it's like 12.
Okay.
Within the past, like 12 releases in the past 5 years in order to be a voting member. Only 6 to be an observing member, where you can at least submit your music.
Yeah.
You won't be able to vote, but you can submit.
Okay, I'm gonna apply.
Yeah, apply. You pay like $100.
Had 100 releases in the past 6 years.
You just pay like $100 membership a year, and you get to vote and you get to submit your music. And like, I think it's a lot more accessible for people to be members of the Recording Academy than we think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cool though. All right, so because I know we were wrapping up like relatively soon, I want to talk about like your experience with Pitbull's team and like doing songs with Pitbull. I think it was Pitbull and Tim McGraw, right? The recent one.
I have a song with Pitbull and Tim McGraw.
That's a crazy accomplishment also.
That's crazy. It's interesting because it's like my highest streaming song, and it's not really representative of my musical style, which is kind of like a hit or miss algorithmically. Like, I'm not going to say no to a featuring with Pitbull because it's done amazing things for my numbers, the exposure and stuff. But algorithmically, those songs carry so much weight compared to my pathetic little data, and so I've been kind of like training the algorithm with like a lot of releases on mine. But Pitbull's been amazing to me. Like, he has given me every opportunity possible. And I have nothing but amazing things to say about him, as like a boss, as a person, as a family man. Like, he's a gentleman. He's everything that you think he is. And like, I can 100% vouch for it. They always say, like, don't meet your heroes, but he's just one of those people that have so pleasantly surprised me. He's been everything. He's been shockingly like so like giving, and like he'll get an offer on a song, or somebody will pitch him something, and all of a sudden get an email like, yo, jump on this. And I'm like, Pitbull just thought of me today. Yeah, like, Pitbull just heard a song and was like, this will be great for Vikina, and sends it. And like, that's wild.
Yeah, that's amazing though.
Wild, because I think I've always admired him, not just, as an artist, but like as a businessman, and his ability to dominate both markets has been incredible. Really, truly.
Yeah, he's like a pioneer and just an absolute legend.
Yeah. And I get to like play every once in a while when I get to see him, and I get those lucky opportunities where I get to hang out with him. I'll play him some of my stuff, and he'll give me some, constructive criticism. But more than anything, I have a lot of creative freedom in the label. Yeah. Like, they really kind of follow my lead. I think I'm really one of the first artists on the label that's kind of pioneering this like dance lane. So we're all kind of learning together, which is a unique experience. It has its pros and its cons. But I do have a lot of creative freedom. I get to pitch my own ideas and my own projects. I kind of come up with my own release schedule, and they approve, and sometimes they'll change the dates, or we got to negotiate with some DJs, and some, people are easier to work with than others.
It's just good to have a good team behind you and making it happen.
Yeah, I feel really lucky. We're a small team, but everybody works really, really hard, and I think that's what's important.
Yeah. So any final like tip for aspiring singers? And because like I said, we've had a lot of DJs, but what would you say to like someone that's trying to make it as a singer or top liner or someone in that industry?
So my tips for vocalists trying to make it in the dance world would definitely be to learn to engineer and take control. Don't wait for somebody to open the studio for you. Learn to run the spaceship. Get control of your acapellas and your top lines. Organize them, because good songs never die. So you want to organize them. You want to put them in a folder where you can send them out to DJs and follow up with the DJs and be accountable, because just like you have a million things to do on your to-do list, so do they. And the weeks pass and days pass, and it's not that they don't want to collab. They just maybe forgot. So you got to follow up. You got to be diligent. You got to be organized, and like take control. Don't wait for anybody. Like I think I can learn anything on YouTube University. So why pay the $250 for the album cover artwork when I can just do it on Canva myself? And I think that's been, when you are relentless and you have a train that's moving, then other people kind of want to jump on that train. Nobody's going to want to sign an artist that you need to hold their hand and drag them and take them. And they want to know that somebody is active and working and moving, and that they're going to be a worthwhile investment. So make yourself a worthwhile investment.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much again for coming out and doing this. And I'm sure we're going to hear a bunch of top lines in the next few years.
Totally.
Some originals and a lot of great stuff.
Yeah, I've got a new EP. It's coming out April 3rd. It's called Questions Reloaded. It's a bunch of club-ready versions of my album Questions that came out in October. So listen to Questions and listen to Questions Reloaded when you're getting ready to go out to the club.
Love it. All right. Thank you again.